Dr. Chidi Ufundu of Snowspirations Global Health Solutions. Thank you so much and welcome to this evening's YouTube live video. And today we're going to talk about IVF. We've been talking about IVF for some time now. And we're talking about IVF from a perspective of failure. So when IVF fails, what do we do? What's next? You see, IVF is a very emotionally charged journey. Besides the emotion, there are so many things that happen which you can't predict. So the outcome can go anyway. Now, from what we know, for a woman and the partner to succeed in having good outcome in IVF, they will definitely go through series of challenges. Now, IVF can come in different cycles, and normally, sometimes the first cycle can work for some people. Some other time, they might need more than one cycle, but the fact remains it works. Now, when you've gone through the emotions, when you felt that very sad, frustrated, anger, you have so many things to think about. You blame the doctor, you blame your partner, you blame yourself. You begin to wonder, what did you do wrong? Why is your own different? And you've spent a lot of money. Unfortunately, it's very expensive. You see, your frustration, your anger, your sadness, they are raw emotions and they are completely normal. You are supposed to feel that way. Matter of fact, when you don't feel the frustration, when you have failed IVF, you're not normal. You are supposed to feel the frustration. You're supposed to feel sadness. You're supposed to feel frustrated. You're supposed to feel anger. You query a lot of things. You've been in a very bad place. They are all okay. Now, the question is, what do we do next? So at the same time, at the back of your mind, you might be wondering, what shall I do next? Where do I go from here when I've had a failed IVF? They are all genuine questions. Now, the very first thing we have to consider when you've had failed IVF, it's grief. You have to find time to forgive yourself. You have to find time to applaud yourself. You have to actually find time to internalize what actually happened. So grieving your IVF is very important. This is a journey. So I don't expect you to suddenly, everything is perfect. You're bouncing back. You're not crying. You're just all about the whole place. That's not how it works. So going through the grief of losing that particular chance, it's a very high emotionally journey. You've taken so many drugs, you've taken so many injections, then suddenly 14 days after the transfer, they give you the bad news. And normally the nurse will call you and they give you the bad news. Oh, it was negative. So you feel so devastated. Now it's important you recover your energy because your energy is important to the next phase. So you might feel you've invested a lot of time, a lot of money into this. But what I know for sure is the fact that there is hope. There is always hope. At the same time, you want to make sure that subsequently, what you need to do next, you have enough knowledge, you have enough information to take the next bold step. So what I'm going to attempt to do this evening is to give us a couple of things we can do differently when you have had a very bad outcome in your IVF. So there are specific things expected of you. Number one, you have to go for counseling. Fertility counseling, very, very, very important. When you go for fertility counseling, it's going to give you an avenue to express your emotions. So your fertility counseling is going to be done under the care of the person that did the IVF. So the IVF specialist is going to be the person that will do the counseling. So the counseling will give you an opportunity to express your raw emotions, your feelings. You don't have to worry about hurting your partner because what we've noticed, sometimes when the outcome is negative, most women will start feeling bad about how their partner is feeling. So when you're talking about counseling, it's not just about your partner. We are talking about both of you. So when you go for your counseling, it will be an opportunity for you to express yourself. It will also be an opportunity for your partner to express his or herself. Very, very important. So when you go for counseling, It will be an avenue for you to discuss with the IVF provider, from their own perspective, what they think you can do, and the different methods they can try differently, where they feel things went wrong, where they feel things went right. When you go for counseling, it's going to help you and your partner to get support. Because at this stage of your failure, you need support. And like I mentioned, most couples will need more than one cycle to succeed. So the first cycle might fail, the second one might succeed. But before you go for the second one, we want to make sure we do things right. So the first journey when you've had failed IVF is what? Recovery, counseling, infertility counseling. Very, very important. Now, besides the counseling you will get from the fertility specialist who administer the IVF, you can also look for IVF support groups. So depending on your location, there are a couple of support groups. These are individuals that probably have the same problem you had, or people that failed in the past, but currently they've succeeded. Having good social support is very important. So many individuals and couples face similar problems you're going through right now. There are some people that failed, but they succeeded. So when you go to the support group, you can connect with them. They can help you to feel a little bit better, and you can glean from how they were able to navigate from the failure. So support group is very important. You can look around your location, you can look around your community to see if there are support groups. You can Google it, you can go to the library, you can ask around. Hearing about other people's story will encourage you. This is what we know. Becoming a mother, becoming a father can be challenging, but it's permanent assurance. So you might fail temporarily, but permanently you're going to succeed. So number one, after fertility counseling under the IVF provider, see if you can get an IVF support group. It helps a lot. Now, the next thing to do is what to do next. Now, from what we know, some people might want to go for additional cycle. Like I mentioned, a couple of packages will come with 1 cycle, 2 cycles, 3 cycles. So cycles means the first one you did failed. You can come back and repeat another one. And most programs will give you discount if you're coming back. So some of them might give you 50% discount. And by that time, you might have either frozen eggs, or they might use fresh eggs or fresh sperm, whichever way. But you have an opportunity to go for another cycle. After a failed IVF, many individuals and couples might want to continue further IVF. Majority of them will actually want to do that. Usually, you will find more success when you go beyond 1 cycle. So my general advice is to make sure you don't just do 1 cycle and you give up. Giving up is not in our dictionary. We are going to fail, but we're going to get up until we get results. So you can opt to go for another cycle. But before you go, it's important we look at things critically. So you have to know your chances when you go for the second cycle, what to do next. Now, you have to ask yourself this simple question, and also the IVF provider. How many cycles of IVF do you need to go for? How many cycles of IVF is an average person in need of? On the average, it takes at least 3 cycles to get results, but people are wired differently. So where other people might succeed, you might not succeed. Where they failed, you might succeed. So when you hear other people's IVF story, that's their own story. Your own body is unique. So going for additional cycle, you have to make up your mind on a couple of things. So you have to make up your mind if you're going to use your own eggs. Remember, the outcome of your IVF is dependent on the quality of the eggs, the quality of the sperm, and a couple of other parameters. So you have to decide if you're going to use your eggs or if you're use donor eggs, and also your age. When you are above 35, you have a better outcome. Sorry, when you're below 35, you have a better outcome. When you're above 35, your chances of having good outcome is reduced, but you still have a chance. So anytime we have a chance in life, we can still succeed. So the possibility of going for the next cycle is there. But before you go, understand your own unique journey. Understand what could have happened. Have that avenue to discuss the outcome of your IVF with a provider who will take time to explain to you what happened. You can succeed. So generally, Women under 35 will have the highest success rate of repeat cycle. Women above 35 can still succeed, but there are a couple of factors we need to factor in. Your age is number one. Your lifestyle. So definitely, if you're going for this route, you don't have any business smoking. Okay? You don't have any business not looking cool. You have to watch your body weight. You have to make sure you avoid stress. So the more positive lifestyle you have, the more you're going to have good outcomes. So if you were going for IVF previously and your BMI is above 30, when you are planning to go for the second one, work towards coming towards 24.9. So this possibility of having good outcome when your body mass index is within the normal range is very high. But when it's above 30, that means you're in obesity range. So a woman that has obesity as a problem might likely fail. So your chances of success in subsequent second cycle is dependent on a couple of factors I'm going to mention. Your age, the egg quality, the quantity of the eggs, the sperm quality, the quality of the IVF procedure itself. So we need to count on experience. Let me repeat again. Your egg, your age, the quantity of the egg, the quality of the sperm, how motile is the sperm, how good looking is the sperm, the quality of the IVF procedure itself. Now, the cause of your infertility to start with, your womb condition. Some women, unfortunately, their womb might not be user-friendly. Their womb might not be viable to carry babies. So we have to check everything to see where you stand so you can leverage on that. So your second cycle upwards must be fully planned. So depending on your age, if the problem was your egg, if you don't have good ovarian reserve, then you have to consider donor eggs. But if you're younger than 35 and after checking your ovarian reserve, we still have good eggs, you can still go for that. So age is something we need to factor in, and age will now determine the quality of the eggs. Usually your chances will go up when you make sure that everything you have in the box I've ticked, it's high. Now, thankfully, when you're going for IVF, the possibility you'll have multiple pregnancies is very high. So that's actually an advantage. So some couples might be going through infertility for 15 years, for 20 years, and they can even try and fail for first two cycle. When the second cycle or the third cycle succeeds, they can have twins, they can have triplets, they can have quadruplets. So when you don't give up and you continue to do your best, the possibility you might end up coming out with rainbow babies is very high. So rainbow babies means in the past, you lost your baby through either miscarriage or stillbirth. Then subsequently, you were able to succeed in having your own baby. So many people will have rainbow babies, but that doesn't mean that the baby you had replaced the other babies you lost. Every baby is unique, but you need to know your chance. Now, before you proceed for subsequent cycle, you must review the previous IVF cycle with the IVF doctor. Very, very important. Now, like I mentioned, there are a couple of reasons that can lead to failure. It might be implantation failure. It might be low quality eggs. It might be the age. It might be ovarian reserve. It might be the quality of the sperm, or it can be chromosomal problems. If it's chromosomal problems, then definitely there is nothing anybody can do about it. Now, what are the additional options you can go for when the IVF fails? So many women can still become pregnant naturally. So the fact you went for IVF doesn't mean you're gonna subsequently use IVF for all your babies. You can still become pregnant naturally. Matter of fact, in one of the studies, we discovered that 1 in 6 women can still go ahead and become pregnant naturally. So you might go for IVF, you might succeed or fail, and you might be in the process of shopping for money to come back, and you will succeed naturally. So natural pregnancy after failed IVF is a possibility. So regardless of what happens, keep on trying. 1 in every 6 couples might conceive naturally after unsuccessful IVF within 5 years. That's a huge number. So you can still become pregnant naturally, even when you had a failed IVF. We've seen it happen. Matter of fact, some women might be shopping for money to go for IVF and suddenly they will miss their period. They will become pregnant. So this is where your PPP can come in. Whatever happens, keep on trying. Don't ever give up. God is still the ultimate decider of how everything is going to turn out. So natural pregnancy after successful IVF or failed IVF is possible. 1 in 6 of couples that had failed IVF, if they continue, in 5 years, they will succeed. Some will succeed in having 1 baby. Some will succeed in having 2 babies, 3 babies, 4 babies. We've actually had couples that one of the tubes of the woman was removed. She borrowed a lot of money to go for a series of treatment. The very first time she decided to go for IVF, the first IVF, she had 4 babies. So it's important you know your chances. Now, the second option you can go for, when you're going for the second procedure, you can go for what we call pre-implantation genetic screening. Pre-implantation genetic screening means before we transfer, we check the embryo. There are a couple of problems that the embryo might have, which we call aneuploidy. Aneuploidy means there are some missing chromosomes or few or problem with the chromosomes. Remember that the mother will give 23, the father will give 23, and you have a 46 sets of chromosomes. In some people, they might have problems. So if you're going for the second one, it might be a little bit expensive, but going for pre-implantation genetic screening is very important. When you do this, if we discover that the embryo we are about to transfer is problematic, we will not transfer it. So it pays to go for pre-implantation genetic screening. So you can do that. Now, the other option is to consider using donor eggs. So if the reason why your IVF failed is equality, age-related, quantity, consider going for IVF with donor eggs. So the second cycle, instead of using your own, you can use a donor egg with your partner's sperm, and you can still succeed. Very, very important you follow me and you try this. So when you have poor ovarian reserve, you have premature ovarian failure, or you have genetic problems, or for some reason you've been having series of miscarriages, it's possible that it's related to your eggs. So consider donor eggs. My people, there is absolutely nothing wrong in going for donor eggs. So donor egg is an option. Now, lastly, before I take questions, some women might need to go for surrogacy, gestational surrogacy. So surrogacy means for some reasons, your womb cannot carry a baby successfully. So you've had limited successes with IVF in the past. You haven't succeeded. You have medical problems or illness that affected your womb. And lo and behold, you cannot carry your own baby. Or for some reasons, we removed your womb through the process of hysterectomy. Or people that are in the current dispensation, same-sex people can go for surrogacy. So it's called gestational surrogacy. Now, some people can have what we call unexplained infertility. Or you can be very, very advanced in your age. So you might be 60 or tending towards 70, and you still want to be a mother. This is where you can come in to go for gestational surrogacy. And some people can just, opt for surrogacy just by personal choice. So what's the bottom line? IVF fails, but IVF succeeds. When you've had a failed IVF, it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel sad. They are all expected emotions, but you can succeed. Going for the second one can lead to success stories. Most couples and individuals will require multiple IVF cycles. So if you have the resources, don't give up by just going for the first time. Keep on trying. When you want to go further, make sure you go for review. Make sure we understand what happened. Use the option of donor eggs. Use the option of surrogacy. Whichever one that will give you a result, please use it. At various IVF centers, the team will navigate and stand with you until you succeed. Now, in our team, in our organization, we have select people that give IVF special attention. So we have select providers in Nigeria that can stand with you until you become. So if you want to be part of our organization, if you want to be referred, you can show up, we can refer you, then you can have success. It's my personal belief that virtually everybody in our clinic Virtually everybody in our organization who is willing and who is eager to become a mother and a father will become. So thank you so much for coming in. Right now, I'm going to open for questions and answers. So I'm going to look for questions to provide feedbacks on. Okay, so let's see what we have. What will help a woman recover from a failed IVF cycle? I've listed a couple of important things. Number one, fertility counseling. You need to piggyback to your provider. Your provider needs to investigate and tell you what's going on and give you your options. Number two, support group, IVF support group. So go to your community, find support group. This is where you will glean from their own experience, and their own experience can help you a lot. So support group and counseling will help you a lot. Now, before you go back again, it's important we review to see what we can do differently. Very, very important. I love that question. Does SGHS offer online counseling for couples who had failed IVF? 100%. So you see, all our services are virtually based. So what do I mean by virtually based? I'm currently in Florida, but I'm reaching out to all our members all over the world. So it doesn't matter where you live. What you need, if you're in a bad place, you can subscribe. We can offer you counseling, professional counseling. It can be 1 week, it can be 1 month, it can be 3 months, it can be 6 months. So long as you have access to SGHS providers, you can have access to counseling. Counseling means we need a comprehensive report of that IVF. We need to understand what they did. We need to see what we can do differently. So don't just go jumping into another cycle without understanding what we can do differently. So we have provisions for counseling in our organization. If you have a need for that, don't hesitate to ask for that, okay? Okay, let's see what we have. If you have further questions, please still ask. For how long can change? Let me see. Please take time and ask your question so I will understand it properly. For how long can change her fertility after series of, okay, if I understand correctly, if you're asking when you can switch to a different provider, you know, we have what we call human instincts, right? So how you're treated by your IVF provider is important. If you have a feeling you've been treated right, if you have a feeling that everybody did their best, but their best was not good enough, it will be up to you. It will be up to you for you to make that decision. So the key word is, how have you been treated? Were you at home? Did everybody do their best? Is that provider knowledgeable? Did they explain everything to you? What about your chances? If all these things are checked, it's okay to continue with that provider. But this is what we know. In this era, there are so many people that claim to be IVF providers. So you are better served doing your research intensively before you go with anybody. So anybody can have failure in IVF. The best IVF providers can fail. Nobody can have perfect outcome. But it's left for you to analyze and check the boxes. Did everybody do their best? Did they do all the tests? Did they provide me with the request I needed? Did they investigate? Did they actually do everything they needed to do? If they did that, and that particular program is user-friendly, they have their numbers, you can go with them. Okay? Very good question. So let's continue. But you need to know when to transition, to use donor eggs, to use donor sperm. You don't gain anything using things that will fail. So assuming they told you your eggs are not of good quality, you don't gain anything insisting you're going to use your eggs. Because if you use your eggs of poor quality, it's going to give you poor outcome. So good quality will yield good outcome. Poor quality will yield poor outcome. So you are better served going with quality. Okay? All right, let's continue. Keep asking your questions. After failed IVF, what testing can be done for more information? Extensive checking. Extensive every single step. We have to check your hormones. We have to look at the womb. These are all the things we should have done prior. But more importantly, genetic testing. Pre-implantation genetic testing to see the state of the chromosomes. It's very important. Now, when you have a failed IVF, When you're going for the second one, sometimes it might be a little bit pricey. That means it might be a little bit expensive, but you're better served spending a little bit of money but getting good outcome. So pre-implantation testing might be a little bit expensive. Donor egg might be a little bit expensive. Embryo transfer from a donor can be a little bit expensive. Donor sperm can be a little bit expensive. Surrogacy can be expensive. But the outcome is what you need to focus on. So if God gave you those resources, use those resources to start your family. Okay? All right. Very important questions I'm getting this afternoon. Okay. For a woman that stopped all her medication after negative test, hold on. For a woman that stopped all her medications after negative test, what comes next? When can she start again? When you have had poor outcome, it's okay to express your frustration, your anger, your whatever, every single thing. Cry, blame people, blame everybody. At the end of the day, you go back for counseling. When you go back for counseling, we'll first of all confirm that it's negative. Remember, it's 14 days after embryo transfer. We run the blood test. If we confirm that you are not pregnant, we'll discontinue all the drugs immediately. Now we monitor you. You have to recover emotionally. You have to recover physically. You have to recover psychologically. You have to have good support before you even begin to try again. So when you can try is dependent on your individual factor. So when you've gone for your counseling, when we've gone for all the tests and investigations, and if there are things we need to fix, if you had any feeling that it might be infection or hormone imbalance, or if you need to work on your body weight, or if you need to work on your stress level, by the time you've done all this, we can now say you might be good to go for another one. So don't be in a hurry to rush into another cycle, because what I've noticed, some providers will tell you, don't worry, we're going to give you 50% discount. So it's possible probably you paid about 1.5 million naira. And they will tell you, oh, don't worry, you're going to pay about 950 for the second cycle. Some of them might be interested in the second cycle, but we're not just interested in the quantity. We are interested in the quality. So before you embark on the second cycle, third cycle, we want to know what we can do differently. Very, very important. So quality over quantity. Very, very important. So you can go again. Like I mentioned, on the average, a couple will need more than one cycle to succeed. So it's okay to feel bad when you've gone for one cycle of IVF and it failed. It's okay. Most people that succeeded failed. But when you continue to go second, third time, most of you will succeed. And remember, you can still become pregnant naturally. This is something you don't have to forget. So if every other thing fails, even if you don't have the money, when you go back home, keep meeting with your partner 48 hourly. The possibility you can spontaneously become pregnant is there. Okay? Regardless of the cost of the IVF in the first place. Okay. Do we have further questions? We have about 2 more minutes to wrap up. So, Ebenezer, if you have further questions, you can ask. Please quickly share the topic for tomorrow. Hopefully, we're going to settle everything about IVF and we go into a different area. I've devoted, I think, about the last 4 days talking about IVF. I've explained the steps. I've explained the cost. I've explained the reason why it might fail, just like I'm doing today, and what you need to do next. Now, it's left for you to take that bold step. Remember, today is September 1st. Once you enter September, you start counting down. You can become a mother. You can become a father, but you need to take your chances. Life is all about taking chances, okay? Keep asking your questions. Thank you so much, Mara Kafu. Thank you for coming. If you still have questions, please ask. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, you are missing a lot. There are so many life-changing videos that even if you don't do any other thing else, if you practice the content of those videos, you can become a mother. Let me promise you one thing. There are so many things you don't know. The more you know, the better you become. The better you become, the more you increase your chance. Like PPP, triple P, it works. When you pray, when you make love 48 hourly, And when you see a fertility specialist, you can become a mother. It will blow your mind away. You won't even understand this. There are so many people that subscribed under me since February. They didn't have money to continue again, but I insisted that they should continue making love. One of them actually sent our testimony today. So when you are no longer communicating with me, I want to believe you're still practicing your PPP. Whatever happens, if every other thing fails, your PPP is always there. Your PPP is the bridge to motherhood. Your PPP is the bridge to fatherhood. So yes, you might be challenged. You can have problems here and there, but you can also succeed. Okay, so thank you for coming this evening. And you can see it's extensive. We spent about 30 minutes understanding this. So when your IVF fails, you have to, okay, tomorrow is primary versus secondary infertility. Very, very important topic. You don't want to miss tomorrow. Now, when your IVF fails, remember there are steps you have to follow. Number one, go for infertility counseling. Look for support groups. Think about additional cycles you have to go for. Think about the number of cycles you have to opt for. Ask questions. Consider your age. Consider the quality of the eggs. Consider the quantity of the eggs, the quality of the sperm, the procedure itself, the cause of infertility, the state of your womb. Now, when you've done all this, you begin to review your options. If you have to use donor X, use donor X. If you have to use surrogacy, use surrogacy. If you have to go and save more money, go and save more money. But when you're doing all this, keep on keeping on. You will become. Thank you for coming this evening. I appreciate you. I'll see you in next 24 hours tomorrow. Bye-bye for now. God bless you.